Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute since we've got to do some bait making, and right now it's actually 10 o'clock on a Monday night, but we're going to do a little bit of bait making. As you guys know, spring is here, so what that means, at least for right now, is the water temperature here is, mid 50s. Some of those bass are starting to move up shallow. We're getting to see a little bit of pre-spawn action here, and with the lakes I fish, they're very rocky, so a lot of people know that red is really good this time of year, and I don't really have anything red. So we're going to break out the Epic Bait Mold Slouch, and we're going to make a red color from scratch. We're going to do a Bait Plastics 242. We're going to do a red pigment. We're going to do some red flake, some black flake, and probably even a little bit of orange flake. Give it a little bit of that crawdad look. So I think that's going to turn out really good. We're going to shoot some slouches. And yeah, just see how this new red color turns out and make some red swim baits to try out. Okay, so here is what we're working with. We obviously have the Epic Bait Mold Slouch. This is a phenomenal swim bait mold. Highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite swim baits, and I really can't say enough good things about that. I catch a lot of fish on that bait. As far as colors go, we'll start with the glitter here. We're going to do the .015 bait plastics. This is the orange hex flake. We're going to do the black flake from them in the same size. And then we're going to rock some red. This is some bigger generic flake. I believe you can pick this up at Hobby Lobby, and it does the job, especially in a red. I don't have to worry about this bleeding into the plastic because it's already red. So, kill two birds with one stone using that. We're going to use a little bit of white. The reason we're going to use white is to brighten up the red that we're going to use. These are all bait plastics pigments. This red is a little dark, so I'm going to add a little bit of white to bring it a little higher in the color spectrum there. And then we are going to add some flow orange, just a little bit, kind of make that color pop a little bit. But this color's hot. I have it over here, so I'm going to bring you guys up a little closer, and we're going to start mixing the color. Okay, now that you guys can see, we're going to start with a little bit of the red color here. This is the Bait Plastics Red. I'm going to do 2 drops just to start. This color is pretty potent, so a little bit goes a long ways, kind of like their blue and some of their other colors. So we're just going to mix it up here and see what this does. I'm going to scoot you guys back just a fuzz. There we go. That way the table isn't making you move around. All right, we're going to add a little bit of orange. We're going to add 5 drops of orange. Okay, that was closer to 6 drops, but that's okay. We just need a little bit. Make this color pop a little bit more. And then we're going to add some flake here in just a minute, because when you add flake, stuff starts to change colors a little bit. So that's something to be aware of. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more drops of red. So that's going to be 4 drops of red and 5 drops of the flow orange so far. And I'll have to heat this up again before we get ready to shoot. It's pretty cold outside right now, so stuff cools down pretty quick in the shop. But we're looking pretty good. That is definitely a nice red color. Kind of what I was going for. Okay, I'm going to add a couple drops of white. So I'm going to add 4 drops of white and see if we can brighten this up a little bit. It'll also make it less translucent when you add white, so that's always an option. If you feel like your stuff's a little too clear, mix it in really good. and it will make it a little less transparent. Everything's so cold right now, it just doesn't feel like it wants to mix very well. It just takes a little bit of extra stirring. Alright, that is pretty red there. Still pretty translucent. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more drops of this red. Obviously, you guys will have an on-screen recipe to help you out, but I don't have that because I'm building this color from scratch. Okay, that's looking pretty red there. That's kind of what I was wanting, so that's good. I'm going to add some flake to this here in just a second. I'm going to heat this up real quick, and then we'll go back and add some flake. Okay, I brought you guys over here in the light where we can see a little better. It's not exactly the easiest to see out in the middle of the shop, but we're going to start with the Hobby Lobby flake here, and I'm just using one of these measuring spoons here. So we're going to use half a teaspoon to start, and we're just going to dump it in there. And on top of that, we're going to add some black. This is the smaller black, so I'm just going to sprinkle some in here, just like so. And then I'm going to mix it up before I put the orange in here, because I want to see what this does before I put the orange in. It's looking pretty good at the moment. Pretty happy with that. I am going to add a little bit of this orange. Don't want just a ton, but we are going to add a little bit. That small flake, you have to remember, a little bit goes a long ways, especially when you're working in 1 cup increments. And this is going to be pretty flashy, which is kind of what I wanted. So I think that's going to be pretty good. It could use a touch more red, but I think it's going to be pretty good like that. Let's try it like this, and I'll see if I can get you a little better look at this in some better lighting. Okay, here's a little better look at this. The lighting is ridiculous. Trying to get this stuff to show up on camera, but there's a pretty good look at it. You can tell it is just a real nice color right there. So we're going to mix this up. I may add like 2 more drops of red. We'll see here in a second, but I think we are pretty close. Okay, I ended up adding 3 more drops of red. I just didn't feel like it was red enough, but I added 3 more. Obviously, like I said, you'll have the on-screen recipe. So if you want to copy it, it'll be a little easier for you. So now, we're just going to knock off these slouches right quick. Should be pretty easy. Holy crap, this injector is way smoother than my other one. Just made a huge mess down the side of that mold. Trying to top that off. Holy smokes. I am not used to that. I picked up a second injector as a birthday gift, so definitely not used to it being quite this smooth. Okay. See if I can top some of these off around the giant mess I made here. Okay. That looks pretty good. We'll let these cool off and check out how this new red color looks. Okay, I cleaned up this mess along the top a little bit, so we might be able to actually get this thing open. Let's crack this mold and see how these turned out. Maybe, if I get them to stay on one side. Oh yeah, those look really nice. Look at that. We'll get a better look at these in the light, but yeah, that red really pops. It's kind of a darker color, which is what I was going for. The water's not super dirty where I'm planning on using these. So they actually look really nice. We'll get a better look at these here in just a second over in the light. But yeah, not bad. Yeah, take a look at those. They look really nice over here in the light. As you can see, that color pops really well. Pull some of those off the sprue. See if I can get it to focus. But yeah, that is not bad. I like all the flake in it. It makes it just really stand out. I think in the sun that's going to have just enough orange in it that you get a little bit of orange coming through there. And just beautiful baits. Looks really good in the slouch too. Definitely a fan. I'm going to use these as some trailers on the back of the chatterbait and maybe on the back of my swim jig. But they just look really nice. You can really see how they pop there. Just a really nice bright red color. Really can't complain about that. There's a real good look at what it looks like in person right there. That is just a really clean red color. A lot of flake, really makes it pop. Okay, we're going to shoot this one more time, and then I'm going to show you a really effective way that you can rig these if you want to fish them just by themselves. Maybe you don't want to put them as a trailer. I'm going to show you how I've been catching some bass here at my local lake, and it's pretty easy and it's very effective. You can take it any depth, and that makes it very universal. When I'm live scoping fish or whatever I may be doing, I can be beating banks with it. I can be out catching suspended fish in 30 foot of water. It just depends, and it is a really good way to do all around fishing. So after we shoot these, we'll move on over and I'll show you what it looks like on how I rig it on my spinning rod. And I've caught some pretty good fish on it. I've caught a 6 pounder on my spinning rod doing this. So not a bad way. You will catch some bigger fish. You'll catch a lot of smaller fish. But if you're looking for numbers, that may not be a bad thing. So there's that shot. We'll let these cool off. And then we're going to jump over here to the boat. And I'm going to show you how I rig these on my spinning rod. Okay, so this is how I'm rigging this. This is currently on braid. I don't really recommend braid. It's just what I happen to have on this spinning setup, so that's what I'm throwing. The fish don't seem to mind it too bad. I'm still catching fish even in pretty clear water throwing this braid. I would recommend probably a fluorocarbon, which is what I throw on my other two rods that are my spinning setups, but this is basically what I'm doing. This is a Berkeley head. They have underspin options like this one, or you can get the ones without the underspin, and they basically kind of just look like that. They have a little bit of a keeper here, and the way that I rig these, I just take it and I hook it to the back. So basically, like this, and then let that tail be on down a little farther. So, get that off there. You kind of look at it and see where you want that hook point to come out, and you want it to come out, right here around this butt section here. So I'm just going to go hook it through the middle. I'm going to try to keep it as straight through the body as I can. That way we're not off to one side. And then optimally we want to poke it through the dead center of the back here. And then we can push it farther up on there. And that is basically what we get right there. And it seems to work pretty good like this. I can't complain. I seem to catch quite a few fish on this. And it's just an option if you want to throw it by itself. So you can take this and throw it down the banks, reel it pretty quickly, and you can catch a lot of those fish that are 5 foot or less. Or you can throw it out there and let it sink, and it kind of sinks like this, and that tail kicks on the way down. And I have a lot of fish when it's falling, they'll come and hit it on the way down. Or I'll see some fish suspended. Here's the fish. I'll reel it over the top of the fish, and the fish will come up and get it as it goes over the top. But that is a really good option as a way to rig these by themselves. Or if you're a little more ambitious and you're targeting some bigger fish, you can throw these on the back of an A-rig. Obviously, you don't want the underspin, but you can get some heads like this and throw it on the back of an A-rig. Keep in mind that will be a pretty expensive setup, but it definitely works. I've thrown them on the back of my A-rigs, and they do work for that. So this is a pretty good size if you decide you want to throw them on an A-rig. But yeah, that is just an option for you guys if you want to throw them by themselves, and then you can just throw them on your spinning setup. I wouldn't probably recommend throwing them on a bait caster because it's going to be pretty hard. They don't weigh just a ton. I mean, it's probably doable, but I just prefer to throw them on my spinning setups. And if you're curious about my spinning setups, you can get these at Walmart. I'm actually a big fan of these. I have 3 of these. These are the Lose Xfinity Speed Sticks. They come as a combo. At my local Walmart, they're $68 a piece. I have 3 of them. I like them. I haven't had any issues with them. So as far as just catching some, 2-3 pound bass, not a problem. I've caught up to 6 pounds on this rod. That fish I told you I caught on the slouch in this method, I did catch on one of these rods, and it wasn't too big a deal. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to catch 10 pounders or nothing, but as long as you're doing some finesse fishing, these seem to be okay. So yeah, just a little input on how to rig them. All right, we'll demold these second shot before I forget, because if I don't do it now, I will probably forget. So go ahead and pop these out of here. Let's see here. We're going for a little darker red for some of the clearer water. If you are fishing super muddy water, you may want to make this a little brighter, maybe add some more orange or play with it, because this is pretty blood red, but like I said, crawfish are pretty dark for the most part, so in clearer water, you're going to want something a little more subtle probably, and this is kind of what I was going for, so nice little red swim bait option. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it overall. Can't say that I can complain. If you want to pick up any of these molds that we used here today, you can head on down to the description and there will be a link over to Epic Bait Molds. As you can see, I have put this mold through some heck, so it is a great mold. I really like this mold. This is one of my favorite swim bait molds I've ever had. I've had other brands, I've tried all kinds of stuff, but this is just a really good in-between size, so I would really recommend you get it if you are in the market for something like that. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like and a subscribe. It really does help out. We're on the way to 1,000 subs, and if you want to hang around, we're doing a giveaway at 1,000 subs. Epic Bait Molds is sponsoring that, so there's a chance that you could win some goodies from Epic Bait Molds and a chance to win some baits from me. It is going to be a really awesome deal, and I'm excited to be able to give back to you guys some more, because you guys have really blessed me with the support. If you're new here, or even if you're sticking around, I thank you for watching. It really does make a huge difference in the channel, and I'm very grateful that I get to do this. I'm an expert by no means, but I'm very glad to help. So that pretty much wraps it up. If you want to buy any baits from me, there'll be a link in the description below to my store. All that money gets to go back into this so that I can keep making these videos for you guys. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. I'll catch you in the next one.